This is the last in this series of conversations we've had intended to promote my new video, Vacchiano's Rules and Beyond, which is in the final stages of preparation at this time. In June of 2012, and also in 2013, June, we filmed a number of workshops on Vacchiano's Rules at Chosen Vale in New Hampshire, at the Center for Advanced Musical Studies, which is directed by Edward Carroll. My motivation in doing these videos was to give today's trumpeters an idea of how William Vacchiano taught. It's about the philosophy of William Vacchiano, that being train musicians in the fundamentals of music and then let them develop their own musical identities. And he proved that he was very good at that, because I don't think there's ever been a brass teacher in the history of music who has had such a wide variety of trumpet students in terms of their accomplishments after leaving his tutelage. The videos we have produced do not in any way and are not intended to convey the idea of there being a comprehensive view of William Vacchiano's teaching. No individual Vacchiano student could ever have enough knowledge of his work to present such a thing. And in fact, if we wanted to really have a thorough view of what he did and how he taught, you would have to have a representative sampling of students representing 40 years of teaching. I know how Vacchiano taught me the rules and which rules he taught me. I have a pretty good idea of how he taught some of those who were studying at about the same time I was. And I have a fairly good idea of the rules that he taught to those who followed me in the decade after I had studied with him, because I referred about 11 students from the West Coast to go to study with him, including Ron Rahm and Donald Green. And I saw the work that he did with them. The most important point I would like to convey in these videos is in regards to the philosophy, the teaching philosophy of William Vacchiano, which was very much in the old European school of thinking, which was train the musicians in the fundamentals of music, how to actually read the music rather than simply look at it. Many years ago, I tried, after some conversations with William Vacchiano, I thought of updating the rules, as we call them, and I tried to teach them. A few students came along, like Marcus Stockhausen, Håkan Hardenberger, Anthony Ploeg, the usual suspects. And they accepted these rules, at least during the time they were studying them, as being interesting, and they wanted to learn, and if it would help them in any way in their development of their musicianship. But by and large, the overwhelming majority of students simply didn't want any part of it, and it was impossible. So I just went back to traditional teaching. You know, we played this and told them, yeah, that sounds great, kid. And next week we'll see you, we'll work on something else. Then one day in Chosen Vale, I was trying to think of something to teach in one of those workshops. And for some reason I got started on some of the Fritz Werner things, and that progressed to the Ernst Sachs things, some of the melodic things, and I did it the next day, and a couple of the students came up and said, you know, everyone should study these things, everyone should have these things. So I spoke with Edward Carroll, and I said, next year when we come, why don't we just put that in as those being my workshops, and let's film it, let's get something on film. And a number of people cooperated. We tried to do it in a professional way. We had bright lights, and with the exception of one day where we lost some very good footage because someone had a lawnmower going outside the building. We got some pretty good tape. And we went through them. And in those cases where I was particularly effective in making a point on one of the rules, and or if one of the students responded in kind, those were the takes that we decided to use in the final video. Someone asked me a question of why I have included the term beyond in the title. I've done that because I have made some adjustments to some of the rules as they were taught to me. Vacchiano's rules, as they were originally taught, had to do with playing short phrases, short musical segments, aligning things rhythmically, all of those things that are involved in basically large ensemble performance. And I wanted to add things that would apply to just music in general. And he wished me luck. He thought it was a fool's errand because, as he said at the time, his students no longer appreciate that kind of teaching. But I tried it. Our original release of the video will be 7 chapters, and it will be available for digital download. Our intention is to produce additional chapters at a later date.